My name is Rosalia and the topic that I'm going to talk about is industrial hemp. Under the S-359 Industrial Hemp Farming Act of 2013, industrial hemp is defined as plant cannabis, sativa, and any part of it, whether growing or not, with a tetrahydrocannabinol concentration of no more than 0.3% on a dry weight basis. So my major claim is that industrial hemp is a more sustainable alternative to petroleum, and start off with the definition to make it so that you guys don't confuse it with this side. The other one. The other one. Okay, so the following points is going to show why I say that industrial hemp is more sustainable to petroleum. First of all, because industrial hemp is a multi-purpose resource. It's also, petroleum and its products are harmful to the environment. And thirdly, industrial hemp is better for the environment. So first, we're going to see why industrial hemp is a multi-purpose resource. Anything petroleum can do, hemp can do as well. It can produce similar and environmentally sustainable products such as textiles, plastics, cosmetics, and fuel. The North American Industrial Hemp Council states that hemp fibers can be spun and woven into fine, crisp linen fabrics that can be used for textiles, home furnishing, textiles, and carpeting. They also state that it's a high cellulose content, which means it can be applied to manufacturing plastics, and because it's a primary fiber, it's biodegradable and possesses anti-mildew and antimicrobial properties, so it biodegrades, not like petroleum, which is harder to biodegrade. Also, another product from petroleum is fuel. In the article hemp, it says that hemp can provide two types of fuels. It can provide biodiesel and the oil from the oil pressed from hemp seed, and it can provide ethanol made from fermented stalk. Biodiesel, according to the same article, the same website, which is hemp.com, states that it's safe to handle and to transport because it's biodegradable as sugar. It's 10 times less toxic than table salt, and it has a flash point of about 300 degrees Fahrenheit compared to petroleum diesel, which has a flash point of 125. Now that we heard about industrial hemp can yield comparable products to those of petroleum, let's move on to how petroleum and its products are harmful to the environment. Petroleum contributes to environmental pollution. In his article called Petroleum, Agent McDonald writes that in large concentrations, the hydrocarbon molecules that make up crude oil and petroleum products are highly toxic to many organisms, including humans. So petroleum also contains trace amounts of sulfur and nitrogen compounds, which are dangerous by themselves and can react with the environment to produce secondary poisonous chemicals, aside from what it already can do all on its own. So if we see how this relates to the impact of fuel, the U.S. Energy Information Administration reports that 19.6 pounds of carbon dioxide are produced from burning 1 gallon of gasoline, and that doesn't contain ethanol, and 22.38 pounds of carbon dioxide are produced by burning 1 gallon of diesel fuel. And that's relating to fuel. When we go and relate it to other common petroleum products that can be made from hemp as well, or plastic, and most commonly plastic in the bottle form. And the Nation for Change article states that Americans use 1,500 plastic bottles every second. That's just one plastic product. It's hardly ever recycled, and these containers fill the oceans and sit in our landfills for a very long time. The Michigan Water Stewardship Project claims that it takes 450 years for a plastic bottle beverage container to decompose in a landfill. So we can see how these products, if they are not made of a sustainable resource, they can be harmful to our environment. So now that we see how these petroleum products are not good for the environment, we can see how industrial hemp is a better alternative, is better for the environment. Industrial hemp is better because it lends itself to growth in diverse places. It can be grown domestically. The North American Industrial Hemp Council states that hemp grows well in a variety of climates and soil types. It's naturally resistant to most pests, precluding the need for pesticides. It doesn't use as many pesticides as other crops would, like cotton or something else. It grows tightly spaced, out competing any weeds, so herbicides are not necessary. And it also leaves a weed-free field for the following crop. Hemp is also a renewable resource, and it's beneficial for crop rotation, which allows, for crop rotation, its growing cycles are more convenient to long replenishing cycles that are associated with growing timber or the formation of crude oil deep in the sand. It's a faster process. It has a minimal impact on soil, both for cultivation and processing. And finally, in another article by Pierre Boulot, he states that the absence of pesticides used in the years when hemp was grown allows microflora to develop and become functional. This promotes the development of soil microfauna, which in turn improves the fertility and function of the soil for crops that will be grown after. In conclusion, we saw how industrial hemp is a multi-use resource that is better for the environment and how petroleum has negative effects. Therefore, I say that industrial hemp is a sustainable alternative to petroleum.
All right, the propositions clearly identified, the contents, oh, don't stand there, because it makes me feel like I'm shooting at you.
I'm going to leave right
All right, the propositions clearly identified, the contents are previewed for the audience. I think you need to present some information about why it is that industrial hemp is not being utilized this way. Are there economic barriers, legal barriers, social barriers that are preventing it from being used? Because otherwise, that's the first question. If it's all this and a bag of chips, why is it that we're not using it? And there's got to be some explanation. I assume that it's probably because of legal issues concerned with the fact that it is closely associated with pot. So that shouldn't be that hard to explain. Internally, you signpost the secondary points pretty well, and I thought you explained some things. I'm still trying to figure out if we've got hemp-based bottles that can hold our liquids, because that's basically where your argument comes from on that first and second point. We're going to be replacing bottles that pollute, because we're going to be able to make them out of these hemp-based plastics, and that sounds great, and it would be nice to have some examples of that, some testimony about that. The only information we got from you on that particular point comes from the Hemp Industrial Council. In other words, people who want to use hemp products and are interested in selling their own products. I think there's a little bit of potential bias there, so it would be nice if you had some independent information to support that particular point. The notion that we could replace automobile fuels and petroleums with hemp-based products is a big one, and I'm not exactly sure what the cost issues are on that particular point, and I think that that's something that's missing from the argument. Also, when you were talking about the pollution issue, you gave us an amount of information on the SO2s and the CO2s and the NOxs that are coming from burning a gallon of gas, and I was waiting for the comparative information on hemp-based products, and I never got that, so it felt like half of the argument was missing there. There's a lot of reading. You have basically no audience contact when you're speaking, and that's a bit of a problem. Thank you.